The unexpected recruit. The Stellar Defense Academy hung in geosynchronous orbit above Centauri Prime like a crystal snowflake, its gleaming spires housing the most advanced military training facility in the known galaxy. Admiral Vexthor, his iridescent scales shifting colors with barely contained irritation, stood at the observation deck watching the approaching Earth shuttle. "This is unprecedented," he muttered to his assistant, a towering Andromedian named Zar whose crystalline form sparkled under the station's ambient lighting. 3,000 years of tradition, accepting only the most evolutionarily advanced species, and now we're required to admit, a human. The shuttle docked with more grace than the Admiral expected, though he'd never admit it. Maya Rodriguez stepped through the airlock carrying nothing but a worn toolkit and a backpack, an insult to the Academy's fully automated fabrication systems. At 22, she was older than most cadets, having spent years working in the shipyards of Mars rather than pursuing the traditional academic route. "Welcome to the Stellar Defense Academy, Cadet Rodriguez," Admiral Vexthor announced, his translator struggling to maintain the proper tone of condescension. "I trust you understand the unique nature of your admission." Maya's dark eyes sparkled with barely contained amusement. "Thank you, Admiral. I understand perfectly. I'm the first human you've been forced to accept due to the new Galactic Council inclusion mandate." She patted her toolkit. "I also understand you've been having problems with your quantum drive stabilizers that none of your advanced species can solve." The Admiral's scales shifted to a deep purple of annoyance. "Our systems are far beyond human comprehension. The stabilizer issues are merely a temporary dash. Oscillation in the primary containment field caused by harmonic resonance between the quantum matrix and the physical housing," Maya interrupted, pulling a tablet from her pocket. "I analyzed your public maintenance logs during the flight. You're trying to solve it with quantum field manipulation, but sometimes the solution is just good old-fashioned mechanical dampening." Zar's crystalline form vibrated with what might have been either amusement or outrage. It was hard to tell with Andromedians. "You propose to fix our quantum drive with mechanical solutions?" "I propose to fix it with the right solution," Maya replied, her voice firm but respectful. "Sometimes the most advanced answer isn't the best one. That's something we humans learned the hard way." The first week at the Academy proved to be exactly as challenging as Maya had expected. The other cadets, a mix of energy beings, crystalline entities, and various other, advanced, species, treated her with a mixture of curiosity and contempt. The instructors were worse, constantly questioning her presence in advanced engineering courses. During quantum mechanics class, Instructor Zilvax, a being of pure energy contained within a humanoid force field, called on Maya repeatedly, clearly hoping to expose her primitive understanding. Instead, Maya's practical experience with actual starship systems repeatedly highlighted the gaps between theory and application. But according to quantum field theory, Zilvax began, after Maya suggested a simple mechanical solution to a complex drive alignment problem. "Theory is beautiful," Maya interrupted, standing at her workstation, "but ships aren't built on theory alone. Yes, quantum fields can self-align through probability manipulation, but why waste the energy when a properly calibrated mechanical governor can prevent misalignment in the first place?" The other cadets murmured amongst themselves. A few, particularly those who had actually served on starships rather than just studying them, began taking notes. The breaking point came during the practical engineering exam. Each cadet was assigned a malfunctioning drive system and given 1 hour to diagnose and repair it. Maya's system was deliberately sabotaged with multiple cascading failures, a test meant to be impossible to solve. She spent the first 10 minutes just observing, much to the examiner's amusement. While other cadets immediately dove into quantum diagnostics and probability field analysis, Maya walked around the drive, listening, feeling, thinking. Then she opened her toolkit, pulled out a simple resonance scanner, technology that was considered obsolete by Academy standards, and began methodically working her way through the system. "Time's up," announced Examiner Zar after an hour. Cadet Rodriguez, explain your methodology. Maya stood, wiping grease from her hands with a rag, another habit that made her instructors cringe. The quantum field instability was a symptom, not the cause. There was a microfracture in the primary containment housing causing mechanical vibration. That vibration created a harmonic resonance which disrupted the quantum field. Fix the housing, the field stabilizes itself. She tapped a command into the diagnostic panel, and the drive hummed to life, running more smoothly than it had even before the test. The examiners huddled together, their various forms of communication, from light pulses to quantum entanglement, expressing their disbelief. Finally, Admiral Vexthor stepped forward. "It seems," he said slowly, his scales shifting through a complex pattern of colors, "that we may have something to learn from alternative approaches. Cadet Rodriguez, report to Advanced Drive Theory tomorrow. We'll be discussing the integration of mechanical engineering principles with quantum field dynamics." Maya nodded, suppressing a smile as she packed up her toolkit. As she headed for the exit, she heard Tsar comment to another examiner, "Perhaps there's something to be said for doing things the hard way." "Not harder," Maya called back over her shoulder. "Just different. Sometimes the best way forward is to remember where we came from." Breaking convention. The Advanced Drive Theory classroom buzzed with an unusual energy as Maya Rodriguez set up her presentation. 3 weeks into her tenure at the Stellar Defense Academy, she had been asked to demonstrate her unconventional approach to quantum drive maintenance. The room was packed not just with students, but with several senior engineers from the station's maintenance crew. Today's demonstration will focus on detecting quantum field instabilities through mechanical resonance patterns, Maya began, activating a holographic display of a standard Mark 7 quantum drive. Behind her, Instructor Zilvax's energy form flickered with what might have been skepticism. As we all know, quantum drives operate by manipulating probability fields to create controlled spacetime distortions, Maya continued, her hands moving through the hologram with practiced confidence. But what many of us forget is that these quantum effects still have to interface with physical reality. A Meridian student, their bioluminescent tentacles pulsing with curiosity, raised an appendage. But quantum fields self-regulate through probability cascade algorithms. Why consider physical components at all? Maya smiled, reaching into her toolkit. She pulled out what looked like an antique wrench, modified with subtle technological enhancements. Because, Cadet LYX, even quantum fields have to live in the real world. Watch this. She approached the classroom's training drive, a real, powered-down unit used for demonstrations. With careful precision, she placed the wrench against the outer casing and closed her eyes. The modified tool began emitting a soft, pulsing glow. This is a standard harmonic resonance scanner, modified to detect quantum fluctuations through their effect on physical matter, she explained. It's based on technology we developed for detecting stress fractures in early space station designs. Because even though quantum fields exist in probability space, they still have to interact with physical containment systems. The scanner's pulsing changed frequency as she moved it across the drive housing. There, hear that change in tone? That indicates a quantum field misalignment that hasn't yet shown up on standard diagnostics. In about 3 days, this drive would have started showing efficiency drops. Admiral Vexthor, who had slipped into the back of the classroom, moved forward with interest. His scales had taken on the deep blue of intense concentration. Impossible. Our quantum diagnostics are the most advanced in the galaxy. They would have detected dash. With all respect, Admiral, Maya interrupted, they would have detected it once it became a quantum-level problem. But by detecting its physical manifestation early, we can correct it before it requires a full quantum field reset. She pulled up the drive's diagnostic display, showing the quantum field matrix. To most observers, it looked perfect. Then she overlaid the resonance scanner's data, revealing subtle patterns that matched known precursors to quantum instability. The quantum field affects physical reality, but physical reality also affects the quantum field, Maya explained. It's a two-way interaction that we've been mostly ignoring. By monitoring both aspects, we can catch problems earlier and solve them more efficiently. The room had gone quiet, various species processing this information through their different types of consciousness. Even Instructor Zilvax's energy form had stabilized into a focused pattern. But that's so primitive, one of the crystalline students commented, their facets refracting light in patterns of confusion. Primitive doesn't mean ineffective, Maya replied. Humans learned a long time ago that sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. We didn't have the luxury of quantum probability manipulation when we first reached for the stars. She spent the next hour demonstrating various techniques that combine traditional mechanical engineering with quantum field theory. The scanner was just the beginning. She showed how standard maintenance tools could be modified to work with quantum systems, how physical vibration patterns could predict quantum cascade failures, and how simple mechanical solutions could sometimes prevent complex quantum problems. By the end of the presentation, even the most skeptical observers had to admit there was merit to her approach. Admiral Vexthor's scales had shifted to the rare gold color of academic excitement. Cadet Rodriguez, he announced as the class concluded, the station's primary drive has been showing slight efficiency losses that our quantum engineers haven't been able to locate. Would you be willing to examine it with your methods? Maya nodded, trying to hide her satisfaction. Of course, Admiral. Though I'll need access to the maintenance crawlways. Some things you just have to feel for yourself. As the classroom emptied, she overheard two energy beings discussing the possibility of incorporating physical sensor arrays into their own diagnostic systems. Change was coming to the Stellar Defense Academy, one wrench turn at a time. Later that evening, as Maya worked on the station's primary drive, she reflected on how far she'd come. The maintenance crawlway was cramped, designed more for maintenance drones than human engineers, but she preferred doing things hands-on. Her modified scanner hummed against the drive housing, telling stories that the quantum diagnostics missed. You're not going to believe this, she called out to Czar, who was monitoring the quantum readings from the control room. The quantum field instability isn't in the drive at all, it's being caused by a micrometeorite impact on the outer hull. The structural stress is creating a resonance pattern that's affecting the quantum containment field. Impossible, Czar replied, their crystalline form vibrating with surprise. The hull is quantum reinforced. Physical impacts shouldn't affect the drive systems. Shouldn't, but do, Maya said, already pulling out her repair kit. That's the thing about the universe, it doesn't always read the manual. Sometimes you have to improvise. The crisis. The warning klaxons caught everyone off guard. Maya was in the middle of a practical examination, demonstrating quantum field harmonics to a group of first-year cadets, when the station's lighting shifted to emergency red and the artificial gravity flickered ominously. Warning. Quantum core destabilization detected. Containment failure imminent. All personnel proceed to emergency evacuation pods. The automated announcement echoed through the Academy's crystalline corridors as Maya's diagnostic panel erupted with alerts. The quantum readouts were spinning into chaos, showing patterns she'd never seen before. Everyone out, she ordered the cadets, who had frozen in shock. Follow evacuation protocols. As the young aliens rushed for the exit, she grabbed her toolkit and ran not toward the escape pods, but toward the core control center. The corridors were chaos. Energy beings flickered erratically through the walls while crystalline forms vibrated with panic frequencies. Maya sprinted past them all, her modified scanner already in hand. Something about this didn't add up, quantum cores didn't just destabilize without warning. She burst into the control center to find Admiral Vexthor, Czar, and a team of the Academy's top quantum engineers frantically working at their stations. The main display showed the core's quantum matrix twisting into impossible configurations. The containment fields are failing, one of the energy being engineers reported, their form flickering with distress. Quantum cascade failure in 17 minutes. All conventional containment measures have failed, Zar added, their crystalline surface showing stress fractures. We've tried every quantum stabilization protocol in the database. Admiral Vexthor's scales had gone ash-gray, a color Maya had never seen before. Begin full evacuation procedures. We can't risk dash. Wait. Maya interrupted, studying her scanner's readings. Something's wrong with these patterns. This isn't a natural destabilization. She pushed past two protesting engineers to reach the main control panel. Her fingers flew across the quantum interface as she pulled up different diagnostic views. Look at the harmonic resonance patterns in the containment housing. They're too regular. Cadet Rodriguez, this is hardly the time for your primitive dash, one of the engineers began. No, she's right, Zar interrupted, their crystalline form shifting to analyze the data. These patterns, they're not random quantum fluctuations. Maya nodded, already moving to a maintenance access panel. It's like the micrometeorite incident, but deliberate. Someone or something is creating a physical vibration pattern that's disrupting the quantum field. She yanked open the panel, revealing a maze of quantum conduits and physical support structures. Her scanner hummed as she moved it across the surfaces, its tone changing subtly. There. In the secondary containment ring. Some kind of device. Admiral Vexthor moved to look over her shoulder, his scales now showing bands of both fear and hope. A sabotage device? But our quantum scanners would have detected any foreign technology. Not if it was simple enough, Maya replied, reaching deep into the access panel. Her fingers found something that definitely didn't belong, a small mechanical device attached to the containment ring support structure. It's just a modified oscillator, creating a specific vibration pattern. No quantum technology at all. That's why it didn't show up on your scans. 12 minutes to cascade failure, the computer announced cheerfully. Maya examined the device quickly. I can't remove it, it's rigged to trigger an immediate failure if tampered with. But maybe. She reached into her toolkit and pulled out what looked like a simple piece of rubber. What is that? Zar asked, their form vibrating with curiosity even in the crisis. Mechanical dampening material. Old tech, but effective. Maya began carefully applying the material around the oscillator. If we can't stop the vibration, maybe we can keep it from affecting the containment ring. 7 minutes to cascade failure. The quantum readouts were still showing critical warnings, but as Maya applied the dampening material, the rate of deterioration began to slow. The regular pattern in the harmonic resonance readings started to break up. It's working, Zar announced, their crystalline form brightening. The quantum field is beginning to restabilize. Maya didn't respond, focused entirely on her work. One wrong move and the oscillator would trigger an immediate failure. With careful precision, she applied the last piece of dampening material. Quantum field stabilization in progress, the computer announced. Cascade failure averted. The relief in the control room was palpable. Energy beings stopped flickering, crystalline forms relaxed their stress patterns, and Admiral Vexthor's scales shifted to a complex pattern Maya had never seen before. How did you know? He asked quietly. Maya held up the sabotage device, now safely deactivated. Because whoever did this understood something that we've been trying to tell you, quantum fields might be advanced technology, but they still have to interact with physical reality. They used that knowledge to try to destroy the Academy. I just used it to save it. Zar moved closer to examine the device. This is elegant in its simplicity. But who would have the knowledge to create such a device? That's the interesting part, Maya said, pointing to a maker's mark on the oscillator's casing. This is Earth technology, but it's been modified with techniques that aren't human in origin. Whoever did this knows both worlds, just like we've been learning to do here at the Academy. Admiral Vexthor's scales shifted to the deep purple of concern. Which means our saboteur could be anyone in the Academy who's been studying your techniques. Maya nodded grimly. Exactly. And something tells me they're not done trying. The investigation. The aftermath of the quantum core sabotage attempt left the Stellar Defense Academy in a state of controlled chaos. Security protocols had been heightened, with quantum scanning fields supplemented by what many instructors considered embarrassingly primitive physical detection systems. Maya sat in the Academy's main conference chamber, surrounded by a diverse team she'd hand-picked for the investigation. Zara's crystalline form sparkled under the room's ambient lighting, while Elwex's bioluminescent tentacles pulsed thoughtfully. Two energy beings, Zara and Nexus, hovered nearby, their normally bright forms dimmed in concentration. The saboteur knows both Earth technology and advanced quantum systems, Maya explained, projecting a hologram of the recovered oscillator device. That narrows our search, but not by much. Ever since we started integrating human engineering principles into the curriculum, half the Academy has been studying these techniques. Perhaps we're approaching this wrong, Elwex suggested, tentacles weaving complex patterns. Instead of looking for who has the knowledge, we should look for who has the motivation. Zara's crystalline surface rippled with agreement. The timing is suspicious. The device was planted just as the Academy was beginning to accept human engineering principles. Someone wants to discredit Earth's contributions. Maya nodded, pulling up another hologram showing Academy access logs. Exactly. And they used Earth technology to do it. If the sabotage had succeeded, humans would have been blamed for the Academy's destruction. But why? Zara's energy form pulsed with confusion. The integration of human engineering has improved our efficiency by 23.7% across all systems. Change threatens power, Maya replied, thinking of the resistance she'd first encountered. Some species have built their entire identity around being the most advanced, the most evolved. Humans proving that older, simpler technologies still have value, that challenges everything they believe about themselves. The team spent hours analyzing access logs, cross-referencing them with knowledge of Earth technology and quantum systems. They compiled lists of suspects, then eliminated them one by one based on capability, opportunity, and motive. Wait, Nexus suddenly pulsed, their energy form brightening. Look at these maintenance access patterns. They highlighted a series of log entries showing routine quantum field adjustments. Maya leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. These adjustments, they're all within normal parameters, but together. She quickly ran the numbers through a simulation. They've been slowly modifying the quantum field harmonics, making it more susceptible to physical vibration. This wasn't just a single sabotage attempt, it was months of preparation. Only senior quantum engineers have that level of access, Zar noted, their crystalline form dimming with concern. Maya's fingers flew across the holographic interface, correlating data. And only one of them has consistently opposed the integration of human engineering principles, while simultaneously studying them in detail. The room fell silent as Maya pulled up the profile of Chief Engineer Voxtel, one of the Academy's most respected quantum theorists. His record showed vocal opposition to human admission to the Academy, followed by a suspicious sudden interest in Earth technology. But we need proof, Elwex pointed out, tentacles writhing anxiously. We can't accuse a chief engineer without dash. A sudden alert cut through the room. Warning. Unauthorized access detected in Quantum Engineering Lab 3. Maya was on her feet instantly. That's where we've been storing the sabotage device for analysis. She grabbed her toolkit. Zar, alert security. Everyone else, with me. They raced through the crystalline corridors, Maya's modified scanner already humming in her hands. As they approached the lab, she held up a hand for silence. Through the translucent walls, they could see a figure working at the analysis station. Chief Engineer Voxtel, Maya called out, stepping into the lab. I believe you've already done enough damage to the Academy's quantum systems. The chief engineer's scales rippled with surprise before settling into a pattern of cold disdain. Cadet Rodriguez. I should have known you'd be the one to figure it out. Your primitive methods have been, surprisingly effective. Those primitive methods saved the Academy from your sabotage attempt, Maya replied, noting how the others had moved to block the exits. Why? Because humans proved you weren't as superior as you thought? Voxtel's scales shifted to deep crimson. Superior? We spent millennia perfecting quantum technology, evolving beyond physical limitations. Then humans arrive with their wrenches and hammers, solving problems we couldn't. It's an insult to everything we've achieved. No, Maya said firmly. It's a reminder that progress isn't about abandoning the past, it's about building on it. Real evolution means keeping what works while embracing new ideas. The chief engineer's hand moved toward a device on the analysis station. Pretty words, but they won't matter when dash. Maya's scanner suddenly emitted a high-pitched warning. Everyone down, she shouted, diving forward as Voxtel activated another oscillator device. But this time, they were ready. Zara's crystalline form resonated at precisely the right frequency to disrupt the device's vibrations, while Zara and Nexus created an energy containment field. Elwayx's tentacles wrapped around the chief engineer, preventing his escape. As security forces swarmed into the lab, Maya picked up the failed device. You used the same trick twice, she said, shaking her head. That's the problem with believing you're superior, you stop learning, stop adapting. Humans had to learn and adapt just to survive. That's our real strength. Admiral Vexthor arrived moments later, his scales showing a complex pattern of anger and disappointment as Voxtel was led away. He turned to Maya and her team. It seems we owe you another debt, Cadet Rodriguez, he said formally. Though I suspect you would say we owe it to the combination of human and alien approaches. Maya smiled, looking at her diverse team. We're stronger together than apart, Admiral. That's something humans learned a long time ago. Maybe it's time the rest of the galaxy learned it too. New Horizons. 3 months after the arrest of Chief Engineer Voxtel, the Stellar Defense Academy hummed with a new kind of energy. The once pristine quantum engineering labs now featured a mixture of advanced holographic interfaces and what many still called primitive mechanical tools. Students of various species clustered around workbenches, their different forms moving with shared purpose as they learned to combine multiple approaches to engineering problems. Maya stood at the observation deck, watching a new group of human cadets arriving on a transport shuttle. After the sabotage incident and the subsequent investigation, the Galactic Council had not only endorsed the Academy's integration of human engineering principles but had also increased the quota for human students. Quite a change from your first day, Admiral Vexthor commented, joining her at the window. His scales now showed the deep gold of satisfaction more often than not. Though I suspect you knew this would happen eventually. Maya smiled, absently adjusting the quantum field resonance scanner at her belt, now standard equipment for all engineering cadets. I hoped, Admiral. Humans have a long history of proving ourselves when given the chance. Indeed. The Admiral's scales shifted through a thoughtful pattern. The latest efficiency reports show a 47% improvement in quantum system stability since we implemented your hybrid maintenance protocols. The Galactic Council is considering making them standard across all fleet installations. Below them, the new human cadets were being greeted by a welcome committee that included representatives from every species at the Academy. Zara's crystalline form sparkled as they demonstrated a modified scanner to an enthusiastic group of freshmen. You've started quite a revolution, Cadet Rodriguez, Vexthor continued. Though perhaps evolution would be a better term. Not me, Admiral, Maya corrected, turning to face him. We did this together. Humans brought our experience with physical engineering, but it was the Academy's quantum expertise that helped us refine and perfect these techniques. Real progress happens when we combine perspectives, not when we insist one way is superior. The Admiral nodded, his scales showing a new color Maya had never seen before, one that seemed to combine the gold of satisfaction with the blue of possibility. Which is why I've called you here. The Council has approved a new position at the Academy, Director of Integrated Engineering Studies. We need someone who understands both the theoretical and practical aspects, someone who can bridge different approaches and species. Maya's eyes widened. Admiral, I'm honored, but I'm still technically a cadet. A cadet who saved the Academy, exposed a saboteur, and revolutionized our engineering protocols, Vexthor countered. Besides, the position comes with a field promotion to lieutenant. Assuming you accept? Before Maya could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. But these weren't the panic-inducing klaxons of 3 months ago, these were standard alert tones. Priority message from Galactic Fleet Command, the computer announced. Unknown anomaly detected in the Carina sector. All senior staff report to emergency briefing. Admiral Vexthor's scales shifted to alert status. It seems your first challenge as director may be more immediate than expected. The Carina sector is beyond the edge of known space, we've lost 3 quantum drive ships trying to study similar anomalies there. Maya was already pulling up the preliminary data on her tablet. The quantum readings are unlike anything in our database, she mused, but these energy patterns, they remind me of something we saw in the early days of solar sailing. Admiral, I'd like to assemble a team. Already thinking like a director, Vexthor approved. Who do you need? ZAR for quantum field analysis, LYX for biological system integration, Zara and Nexus for energy pattern recognition, Maya listed off. And I want the new human cadets involved, fresh eyes combined with experienced perspectives. If these anomalies are something new, we'll need every approach we can get. They headed toward the briefing room, passing through corridors where humans and aliens worked side by side, their different methods and technologies complementing each other in ways that would have seemed impossible just months ago. You know, Maya said thoughtfully, when I first arrived here, I thought success meant proving humans were as good as advanced species. Now I realize success means proving we're all better when we work together. Admiral Vexthor's scales showed that new gold-blue combination again. An evolved perspective, Director Rodriguez. Very evolved indeed. Maya grinned as they entered the briefing room, already filling with a diverse mix of species and approaches. Well, Admiral, evolution is what humans do best. Now, let's see what mysteries the universe has for us to solve together. The room hummed with energy, both quantum and human, as Maya took her place at the briefing table. Around her, the best minds of multiple species prepared to tackle the unknown, not as advanced or primitive, but as one unified force. The Stellar Defense Academy had indeed evolved, and with it, the future of galactic cooperation had grown brighter than any quantum field. The next great adventure was just beginning.